Texas just became the first U.S. state with a full sovereign bullion supply chain. This is pretty big news. They moved from simply storing metal to actually manufacturing, distributing, and vaulting it through a state-run system. So citizens in Texas can now buy state-branded gold and silver directly from a government storefront and vault it in the Texas Bullion Depository. And that bypasses commercial banks, and it also would bypass some people like us as well to create a state-level alternative to federal monetary rails. Yay! So that was a great way to start our day. But that takes us to what we really need to talk about today, which is liquidity. And that's the ability to easily buy and sell something without moving the prices too much. But there are illusions of liquidity. So I put together this liquidity pyramid, and I really want to give you a sense of what they're really talking about here, because the biggest threat are derivatives. And we just recorded a piece from the most current Office of the Comptroller of the Currencies Derivatives in the FDIC insured banking system. Derivatives are what personally I think will take down this whole entire system, because all they are just big leveraged bets. You can never convert it into the underlying. So you want to make sure that you watch that video and watch it more than once. And also, I recently did an interview with Rick Rule, and he's the one that brought up derivatives, which is something that I haven't really talked about enough, since it's really what's going to take down the system. But right now, they are reporting on a global basis that there's 714 trillion in notional value. That is simply the netted out, or the bottom line value of the contracts. It does not indicate at all the true value that's at risk. So you go, okay, 714 trillion, as if that is really not big enough. But remember, I said that it's notional after netting. So the accounting tricks that they have to make things look a lot smaller, and according to this most current report, with a netting benefit of 88.4%, what that means is that what you're looking at, that 714 trillion, is quite possibly, this is my best guesstimate based on their data, that there are actually $616 quadrillion worth of contract values. Because again, even that 6.16 quadrillion does not reflect the true value that is at risk when the derivative bubble, we're having lots of things today, actually pops. But let me tell you, it is very much in jeopardy after those 15 years of zero interest rate policy. I've shown you this a gazillion times, how much underwater these derivatives are. But let's move on the hierarchy. Make sure you watch that, and watch it with a pad and a pencil next to you so you can write down any questions. And we could talk about it at the live right after that. So that's the biggest challenge that I see, are these derivatives. And these are hidden threats. These are not things that we actually see. Now, I tried to pull up all the valuations in private business, commercial real estate, non-monetary commodities, digital assets, and I could really only come up with the total number for digital assets, which turned out to be 1.25 trillion and growing, considering the fact that when this pyramid was already created, it probably wasn't even out there yet. Going beyond there, this is securitized debt and stocks. Well, what's securitized? That means that they take the debt, and maybe they take the interest on the debt, or your ability to pay, or or the payment on that debt, and they turn it into products and sell it back to you. So securitized. This is true for credit cards. This is true for bank loans. This is true for any of the debt that is easily turned into a product and sold back to you as an asset. How's that work? Somebody's liability over here becomes somebody's asset over here. Well, and it's all about debt. And debt can make things look much better, but when you see headlines like this that say federal debt is projected to approach crisis levels, it's already there. Anything else is just hopium, because it's already here, and I hate to tell you this, but the debt bubble has already popped, which means all these other intangible fiat money assets that are based on this stuff, and you can only convert it back into this stuff. This is the level of inflation that they've done with all of this money printing. And there are holes in that big fat balloon, make no mistake about it. But you want to see the real equity that it's sitting on? Here it is. This is, missed one. Currency illusion. Nope, we're not there yet. The currency illusion, which is this stuff. Physical notes in the US dollar, they anticipate it being like 2.3 trillion. But hey, you know, this is $1 million or $1 million Bolivar note. I can't buy anything with it. Can't barely buy too much with this $100 bill either, can we? No. So all of this intangible, inflated, made up, really great formulas for making things in somebody else's best interest sits on just this little bit, this finite amount of physical gold and physical silver. So as this whole pyramid implodes, when I sit here and I tell you it's the true fundamental value, the value of physical gold and silver during an implosion like this right now, I don't know, 40,000, 2,000, something like that. Oh, chump change. Because all of what I'm showing you here is just what we can see. The real danger is in what we can't see. And we can't see a lot. We have really no visibility. And do you understand derivatives? Nope. And when they were creating the speculative derivatives, because they've been around for a while. I mean, you know, if I'm a farmer and I plant a crop that's going to the market in September and it's January, I would buy a derivative, I would sell a derivative contract. If you're going to sell in the future, you sell futures. If you're going to buy in the future, you buy futures. So I would sell derivative contracts to make sure that if my crop goes to zero, I still get money out of it. It's my insurance policy to make sure that I can live another season and plant out another season. That's end user. That makes sense. But what we're talking about here in this pyramid that you're looking at here, that's all speculation, just made up of this stuff. And they put those big numbers on there because people get blinded by numbers. It isn't spot gold or silver going up or down. It's the volatility in the markets as this bridge that we're walking across, this financial bridge, is swaying back and forth. That's really what the volatility is. But of course, people always think that this time is different. And this piece that I'm showing you here, this goes back to the 1800s. And it's Currier and Ives, or actually, I think this is Ives before Currier even. Or maybe it's Currier before Ives. I don't remember. But it is the way to grow poor and the way to grow rich. And so how do you grow rich? Is hard work, producing something and being of value. That's how you do it. That's what I think my job is every time I go on air. It's to bring value to you, right? But what has Wall Street turned into but a big casino. And look at this. These aren't my annotations. These are the words that were used in those, the way to grow poor, inflation, because that's what governments always do. They inflate and spend. They change policies to manipulate the moves in the markets and also to manipulate how you think about them. They extend credit. That's that whole pyramid that I'm showing you is just on debt and credit and those easy money policies and gambling. They create all of these balloons and then people look at it and they go, wow, isn't that fabulous? I don't have to work hard. I can just go in and trade and make all of this money and not bring any value to the world. And that actually really kind of breaks my heart, because why would you even want to work when the bubbles seem to be making everything so easy? But remember, the easier and cheaper it is to create money, the more fiat money, because this is sound money, this is real money, this is just currency, and it's government, it's corporate debt, right? The easier and cheaper it is to create money, the more fiat money gets created and the less value all of it out there has. So when you're watching the stock market go up and down, or you're looking at the spot markets on gold and silver or anything else, cryptocurrencies, all of that, please, please do yourself a favor. Take off your rose-colored glasses. Realize that this is all about trapping you and your wealth inside of a system. So call us and we'll help you make educated choices. And no matter what you choose, at least it's going to be educated. And I think that's it for today. But thank you guys so much for showing up, because we're making a difference. And it isn't just me, it's you. And thank you so much for being here. And I know that together we can do anything. And until next we meet, please be safe out there. Bye-bye.